Hickok 45 here. You know there's nothing like a 1911 in any chambering, right? Like right here. Nice, big old 45. Woo! Oh, collateral damage. Amazing. Oh yeah, good old 45 ACP and a steel 1911. No, I didn't steal it. It's made of steel. Nighthawk custom. Oh, here's another one. Whoa, what caliber is this one? 30. Wow, 30 super carry. Let's try that. All right, see if it feels the same. How about that watermelon? Boom. How about the gong? He feels neglected already. Boy, it gets there fast, doesn't it? How about a pink 2-liter right here? Nice. Oh, seemed to have more shots, didn't it? Well, that's what this is about. We're gonna have a little fun. Happen to have a Nighthawk custom in both 45 and one in 30 super carry. Oh boy, aren't I a lucky dude. And this one's mine, and this one I borrowed from, I guess, from Federal, right? So we're going to shoot both of these, talk about the guns a little bit, but you know about Nighthawk custom. You've seen our video on this one. I hope I'll link to it. This is another nice Nighthawk custom. They're really one of the I don't know about ultimate, one of the best choices in a custom 1911. If you didn't know that, they run expensive. Mine, I did a trade, but I think it's, I don't know, 3,500 something, 4,000 on it. And this one, it's got to be 4,000 to 5,000, okay, because it's souped up a little bit. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Gold, solid gold barrel, you think? So you know, probably 4,000 or 5,000 bucks. So you can look it up. I didn't see the price on the website, but it's one they make in 30 super carry, and I thought I'd show it to you. And so Nighthawk Custom is famous for, one gun, one gunsmith. If you're not familiar, look at our video on this. The one person builds that gun and stamps their initials on it, I think on the inside, but on every gun, they're responsible for it. And it's checked by other people, as I understand, extensively as they're building, but one person fits that gun, okay? So they're really a nice custom gun shop, no question about that. I think everybody knows that. And there's a lot of good custom gun makers out there, but they're one of the top tier, as we all know. And it's a real pleasure to shoot those two firearms, no doubt about it, man. So what I want to do is not make it it's not a Nighthawk custom video necessarily. It's just I happen to have one, so I don't know if it's comparing apples to apples, but it's heavy 1911 to heavy 1911. So that's kind of what we're doing with two different calibers. And so it's 1911 mainly, and 30 super carry, 45 ACP. We'll talk about 9mm as well. And before, so let's get at it. You want to? So kind of what I want to do mainly, since I happen to have both of these, is again talk about the differences, like we did a little bit, I guess, with the shield. It's nice to compare things that are kind of apples to apples. We have a couple of good old 1911s, both high quality, both heavy, nice triggers, just well made, and shoot a couple of different calibers in them, and talk a little bit about the differences, not just in the field. You all know there's less recoil probably, right, and a smaller bullet, but just some advantages and disadvantages. And what, I don't know, if you're looking for a 1911, you may be your first 1911, or maybe you've had 45 ACP 1911s, and many of them, but you've never had a 9mm or a 30 super carry or a smaller caliber 38 super, or just something other than a 45 in a 1911 pistol. You're just not, you're not sure whether you want one or what it feels like. Seems inappropriate. What would Jeff Cooper think? It just seems like it ought to be a 45 ACP, and I suffer from that myself. Okay, so, but I think, don't quote me, make sure nobody sees this, but I think I heard Bill Wilson say in one of their videos, I don't know, maybe Mossy, you was on there with him, and they were talking about the 9mm and 1911s and things. I think, if I remember correctly, he might have said that they're actually selling more 1911s and 9mm these days. Okay, now I'm not sure I'm correct, but I think he did say that. Either way, they're selling a lot of 9mm 1911s, and I'm sure everybody is. Okay, it's just such a incredibly popular caliber. Who knew it would get this popular? You know, really, it just seems to almost have replaced everything out there. You know, you got small guns in it now, where you don't have to go to 380 if you don't want to, and you've got all these big guns, heavy guns, chambered in 9mm or 30 super carry, you know, these kinds of calibers. So the world has changed a lot in a lot of ways. But then again, you still have all the old choices. So so let's shoot some more and talk. Okay, so by and large, again, these are both expensive guns and everything, and maybe neither one of these is something that you would be interested in, ever paying that much for a what you might think is an archaic design, the 1911, all right? But then again, you might. But either way, maybe it'll be somewhat interesting to you. Probably not, since I'm doing it, right? So let's just load up some of that 30 super carry. Now I'll talk about, here's the 30 super carry, and here, which one is it? In the middle, okay? So you got 9mm 30 super carry, and I'll let you guess what that big old fat one is. Yep, 45 ACP. So quite a difference, right? So you got the 45 ACP, and then you got the 30 super carry 9mm, kind of in the same class. And you know, ballistically, there's not much difference in terms of effectiveness and all that, okay? So whatever we show or say about the 30 super carry is kind of true about the 9mm, except you get even more capacity with the 30 super carry. You get 2 more rounds. So these single stack magazines hold 12. They hold 10. Well, let's go from the 45. Okay, with the 45, yeah, 45, you got 8 rounds. Okay, here's one loaded, 8 rounds. Now some mags are 7, but you know, these days it's easy to find 8-round mags. Okay, 8 rounds is big fat bullets in this single stack 1911. If you go to 9mm, as many of you know, you up that by a couple of rounds, they'll hold 10 rounds. And I remember back when I got into action shooting, that kind of thing, in the late 80s, there were people shooting a 9mm, not many, there were a few shooting a 9mm 1911 for the capacity to get 10 rounds instead of 7 or 8. And so, you know, that's that. Well, with the 30 super carry, you get 2 more on top of that. It holds 12. So you go from 8 to 10 to 12, basically. Okay, so 12 rounds in a single stack. Yeah, nothing to sneeze at, is it? Let's shoot a couple of them. The 30 super carry I talked about a lot in that shield video, and you've seen all the stuff online. You get basically the very similar ballistics. It's faster. It's like 12, it's generally a 100 grain bullet, and you're getting 1,250 feet per second out of it. I guess at the muzzle. Yeah, 1250. Okay, 100 grain bullet, and they're in this, and I think almost all the practice ammo is the same. You know, same weight bullet, 100 grains, 1250 feet per second. So this HST is going to feel the same. Don't let me forget to shoot some of it too. I'll put some in the mag. I'll open it so I don't forget. So it's a little faster, as I talked about in that shield comparison video. Shooting the 9mm shield and the 30 super carry shield, it's hard to tell any difference. Okay, so they're that close. You can tell just a smidgen of difference, but there's not much. Okay, whereas when you go from 45 to comparing it with a 9 or a 30 super carry, big difference. Okay, and that's mostly what we're about here today. So let me shoot the 45 again. I just love the 45, you know. So with a 45, what do you get? You get fewer rounds, same weight gun, and you get more recoil. So kind of watch as I fire. I fire one-handed at the cowboy. Okay, I'm going to put the safety on later. Now I wasn't exaggerating. I was just kind of a firm grip, but not trying to anchor it down, and just let the gun kind of do what it does with a firm grip. Let's shoot the same weight gun essentially. Let's try 30 super carry. And a 9mm would be about the same. Okay, so get the same grip. That's one of the advantages you saw there. I was shooting a little faster just because I was back on target. Okay, let me reach out a little bit. Gong again, or how about a buffalo? I'm going. It gets there so fast that I don't hear the steel as well with my earplugs in. But not a lot of recoil, as you can see. So that's one of the advantages in a smaller caliber. You know, when you go from 45 to a 9 or 30 super carry, is much lighter recoil. Okay, I'll tell you something else you get is an easier spring, right, to rack. I know that's important to some people, right? That's why you have the Shield EZ and other firearms like that. Much difference in racking that slide, okay, compared, you know, this one. Try and get it unloaded. Okay, yeah, a lot more force. Now it's not hard, but it's a lot more force. I mean, it's like twice as hard, I would say. This one is just very, very simple, very lighter spring. Okay. That could be a big advantage for a lot of people. Okay, so in terms of differences like that, the capacity, 12 rounds versus 8 in the magazine. So you got 12 plus 1, what would that be total? 13? Yeah, 13 rounds, 12 plus 1. Here you got 8 plus 1. Okay, you've got less recoil, much less recoil. Quicker follow-up shots on target. Extremely, now here I am saying all this about this. I don't own a 9mm 1911 or 30 super carry, of course, but they are sweet to shoot. I'll have to say, John had one for a while. I think he traded it off or sold it, and that was a Dan Weston, I believe. And it was really, really, or maybe another brand, really nice to shoot. I mean, you just, boy, like this. And just, boy, just lay there. And you could just put bullets on top of each other. It seemed effortless almost. So that's the big attraction. Heavy gun, 1911, with a light recoiling round that, you know, accurate, 30 super carry or 9mm, that you just feel like you're shooting like a warm 22 long rifle almost, okay? So I think that's the appeal to a lot of people. And people that grew up with the old 45 slab side, 45 ACP, you know, it's hard for us to change gears, many of us. And not me, you know, I was one of the first kids on the block to get into polymer pistols. I'm not afraid of something new if it makes sense, reliable, has something to offer. And I don't know, I might end up with my main carry gun might be a 1911 9mm or 30 super carry one day, who knows. But in a 1911, I still kind of prefer 45 if I'm going to shoot a big old heavy 1911. Which brings me to another important point. You never thought I'd ever get to an important point, did you? Let me load this while I'm yakking at you. One of the things about the 9 or the 30 super carry in a 1911 would be, think about, I should have brought it out here, think about my Dan Wesson Guardian. That's basically a lightweight commander, right? It's a little shorter slide, and obviously it's a metal steel slide, but it's shorter, and then you have an alloy frame on that gun, just like you could have on either of these. So guess what happens when you have an alloy frame on a big old 45? You get a little more recoil, don't you? Even more than you would normally get. Well, that's another advantage, I guess, to a 9mm or a 30 super carry. You could pick yourself up a, I don't know if Nighthawk Custom makes one like that yet, probably, in 30 super carry, probably not yet, maybe. But most of the custom gun makers and even some non-custom gun makers offer kind of a lightweight commander, really nice pistol with an alloy frame. And one of those in this chambering, 30 super carry or 9mm, would still have very mild recoil. You know, even though you got a much lighter gun, and those things, they seem to weigh more like a Glock 19 or something. I guess they're still a little heavier. But a 1911 lightweight configuration, commander size, is a very nice configuration. That's why I bought mine, and the Dan Wesson I like. You know, in 30 super carry 9mm, it makes the 911 a lot more attractive for carry. You know, you got a lighter gun to carry. You got a light recoil, and all the things I've been talking about here with the super carry. I notice these mags are a little, there we go. That's enough. So I can't think of other advantages to you. If you're trying to decide, you've decided and settled that you're going to buy a 1911, or you've had 1911s for a long time, and maybe the 45 recoil is getting to you in your old age, right? You're almost 30 now or 40, and you're just feeling too old to be handling a 45 ACP whenever you shoot. Well, and you're thinking about 9 or 30 super carry or whatever. That's kind of what this is about, trying to give you some of my ideas on it, as lame as they might be. Those are the advantages that I see, because this big old bruiser, if you shoot a lot, it doesn't seem like a big old bruiser. If you've shot 44 Magnum and other hard hitting and hard recoiling handguns, 45 ACP really, it basically does seem like a push. Oh, I know what let's do. Let's save a round for the buffalo. Is that what I was hitting that wasn't falling? It went high again, didn't it? Well, that didn't knock it over either. I think I hit it once. I think it must be set hard today. We'll try it again. I think we'll try the super carry. Let's give the super carry a chance to be a hero. All right. Yeah, I hit that gong that time. I'm having a hard time hearing. I hate to take my ear out. Oh well, let's just shoot something close. How about that cinder block down there? There you go. And you've seen in that shield video, the 30 super carry packs as much punch really as the 9mm. Okay, it's not like shooting a 22 or anything at all. So if you were thinking about a 1911 in a smaller cartridge, back to my earlier discussion, yeah, whichever one, 9mm or 30 super carry, sweet shooter. I mean, it's just so sweet. Just hardly any recoil. You can shoot this thing all day. You would want to shoot it all day if you put it in your hands. It feels so good. John and I had the same reaction the first time we shot it, and that's what you get. Well, you get that with a Nighthawk Custom to begin with, but it's really what you get with a soft kicking round, 9mm or 30 super carry in a big old gun like this. So a lot of people would say, including myself, wow, why do we want a big 1911 in the new 30 super carry? It seems so well suited to like a pocket gun or some smaller carry gun where you'd like to have more capacity than 6 or 7 or 8 than it does in a big gun. But then again, whatever the capacity is for whatever gun you want to talk about, whether it's a Desert Eagle or one of these or anything, a Glock 17, if you put this cartridge in it, it's going to hold some percentage more rounds. What, 20%? I don't know. It's going to hold more rounds. I guess a Glock 17 mag, maybe we'll find out one day if they chamber for this. Maybe it holds 20 or 21 rounds or something. I don't know. So a lot of people put a lot of stock in capacity, so that would get you more capacity than even a 9mm. But both very soft shooting. And I'm gonna let you go. I don't want to yak about this all day. I just wanted more excuse to shoot these two wonderful Nighthawk 1911s, and I'm still perturbed that Mr. Buffalo doesn't want to fall. I think John nailed him down over there. That's what he did. I think I can hear it hit with this. Yeah, at least I can tell if I hit it. See? Wow. John, you nailed that draft. I'm going to try the Ram. Yeah. So let's try something else here. A lot more recoil, but I love it. Yeah, I did that once to a fellow. This was years ago. Came to shoot with me, and that's when I had all the animals sitting on timbers. And he's a friend of mine. I went over with nail spikes, and I drove them into the wood in one of the rams and or pigs, I think. And I just bent them over the base of that thing. I mean, I really did it. You couldn't have kicked it over, you know. And we got the shooting. Why don't you try that pig with some of your wimp loads? You gave him a hard time about his wimp hand loads and that kind of thing. So I did it. Yeah, I know it sounds cruel, but I did. So anyway, that's oh, I got a loaded mag. I might have shoot that. But so, you know, 1911s, if you're trying to make a decision on 1911, and I guess really we all underestimate that. Like I said, I don't have a 9, and I don't know if I ever will, a smaller caliber in a 1911. But a lot of people, probably more so than I would imagine, actually are thinking about this, because 1911s are just fun, and you ought to have one at some point. You don't have to carry it, but they're just fun to shoot, piece of history and everything. And a lot of you are right there, and you're thinking about one, shopping for one maybe, and you're trying to decide exactly what I'm talking about. Perhaps do I get the old classic 45, the thing was originally chambered in, or you know, I hate to try to find more expensive ammo or get away from my 9mm, or maybe I want to give the 30 Super Carry a chance. I want a smaller caliber that I can shoot better. So maybe I don't have a lot of experience yet. The big old 45 scares me a little bit, and everybody in my family is going to shoot it, youngsters, or my wife, my husband, whatever. And maybe in a smaller caliber it'd be more fun to shoot and more shootable for everybody in the family. So you know, it might be a bigger question than I even realized, or a more common question and issue than I even realized. But anyway, that's my kind of input. I think you can't go wrong with anything. Get a good 1911, and they're just a lot of fun to shoot. The 45, yeah, is the classic round, but so is a 9mm, and the 30 Super is a great cartridge. You get 2 more bullets now. You know, capacity, if you're thinking of a configuration you might carry or use for defensive purposes, you know, boy, 12 plus 1 is nothing to sneeze at, is it? So anyway, that's my take on it, and I'm glad you came around to see these pistols today. Nighthawk Custom is a, you know, I promise I don't own any piece of the company. I bought that one over there. And they're just nice, and there's so many great companies. I've mentioned some of them, and every time I mention the custom 1911 makers, people ask, why don't you mention Corthor, or oh, I don't know, I can't even think of, there's 5 or 6 others that are really good. I always, you know, go to Les Baer, Ed Brown, Wilson Combat, Nighthawk Custom, and I leave all the others out. But there are a lot of people that make these, and they're a really nice piece of machinery. They are also very expensive, no doubt about it, but they are a really nice piece of machinery, and hard to beat. So anyway, my take on that, you got to make your own decision and get one of these things. Get a 1911, okay? First of all, have that on your to-do list, okay? Lever action, single action, bolt action, 1911. Got to have them, okay? But then your choice on the chambering. I promise we will not make fun of you at all if you get one that's not 45 ACP, all right? It's not because you're a wimp. You just want a firearm that is very sweet to shoot well, okay? So that's my take on it. Life is good.
Tired. It's a long walk from where I had to shoot that. Oh man. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. Since you're here, I want to let you know about our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol, talongungrips.com. Check out everything they have over there. You can get lots of different grips, the stick-on grip textures for your handguns and rifle grips, so go check them out. Also Ballistol, they're a firearms lubricant or anything else you might need lubricating. It's water soluble and non-toxic. Been using it on the compound and cleaning all of our guns. It's a cleaner and a lube for over 10 years. So Ballistol, Talon Grips, definitely check both of those companies out. And also, while you're on the internet, don't forget to go to hickok45.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Hickok45, Twitter, Hickok45, Instagram, The Real Hickok45, and also I have an Instagram page where I post behind the scenes stuff and different things like that. John, John_, HICKOK45 on Instagram. And the next thing you have to do is watch more videos.